What's happening, everybody? Saturday here working on the truck. We're retrofitting this LS into this Duramax frame. We got a couple of parts ordered, got a couple of parts received. We kind of got a plan of action. So in this episode, you're going to see us pretty much get everything plumbed in. We're going to get the whole front of the truck on, kind of see how everything works out. So I'm going to give you a couple updates and let you know where we're at. I got the intake just sitting on here. The factory fuel line is going to work perfect, so that's going to work out well. This is the new orbital valve mount that I ordered. I think I'm going to reuse this motor plate bracket and kind of get it in there like so. Going to have to shorten up that shaft a little bit, but I think that's going to work out pretty excellent. The motor mounts should be here today. I'll show you those later in the video, how we're gonna do those. This T for the coolant isn't gonna work out because you can't service this line and it's not long enough to go to the heater core anymore because the motor's lower than it normally would be. So I got a metal one, so we can put a longer heater hose on there. The PCM kind of sits around, whoop, almost fell. The PCM sits like right here-ish, and I need to get that in place to make sure that the orbital valve isn't gonna make contact with it. So we got the inner fenders on off camera. We're gonna put the front of the truck together and kind of see how everything fits, and then once we get the motor mounts welded in place, or at least tacked in place, and get the orbital valve in place and make sure everything jives and all that good stuff, we'll probably pull the engine back out, weld everything in place, and then reinstall the new engine, because this one is not the one that we're going to be running, because, well, you can't see it because we drained the oil, but it's got a blown head, a gasket. So anyway, stay tuned. We're gonna install the wiring harness, put the dryer on for the AC. I don't think we're reusing these transmission lines. Once we get all the wiring harness, PCM mounted, AC on and everything like that, then we'll probably put the radiator core support in and then figure out what radiator setup we're gonna use, if we're gonna reuse the one that was in it. We are gonna put the radiator back in the front of the truck for now. We're not gonna do the rear mounted radiator. Preferably, I prefer to have it in the front. If we run into problems, we still got all the hoses in the bracketry to put it in the back, so that's something we'll keep in mind. I don't know if we're gonna use the GMC front end yet, so after we get the radiator core support on, we're gonna figure out if we're gonna do the Chevy or the GMC one, but we got a lot of work to do, so we'll get at it. Chase, you got a lot of work to do, buddy.
Yep.
See you guys in a bit. All right, everyone, we got the wiring harness in. Went pretty smoothly. And we don't have everything fully attached, like I said. You know, we're taking this motor out. This is all for mock-up, but it's all fitting pretty nicely. The AC hoses. The orbital valve is gonna be a little tricky, you know, but we'll get it in there. Really, we can't do anything else right now until we put the radiator core support and the radiator in it. So now we're gonna put the whole front of the truck on, and then we'll see how we're gonna mount everything. All right, guys, it's the end of the day. We got the radiator core support in. Got, as I suspected, there's going to be a little bit of clearance issues with that orbital valve, but that's all right. That's why we're doing this. You know, everything else is working out pretty well, you know, radiator hoses and all that good stuff. So next we're going to work on the motor mounts, get that orbital valve where it's supposed to be. I'm going to put the whole front of the truck together, because really you don't need to pull the whole radiator core support and everything off this truck to pull the engine. So really there's no reason to pull it back out. So we're going to put all that together, you know, get the transcooler mocked up wherever that may go. I'm not really sure yet, and report back. What's up, everyone? We're here on Saturday again. Got the motor mounts in. Gonna try and get them welded into the truck today. I scoured, I used to go out on Friday nights, and now I look at motor mounts and edit YouTube videos, so you're welcome. So yeah, we're gonna try and get these in today. Wish me luck. I took like 5 million measurements, so I think I got them right. We'll see. Check it out, guys. This is gonna work so perfect. I'm freaking pumped. I looked at motor mounts forever online, like literally for hours. Dude, these are gonna work awesome. Freaking nice. All right, guys, this is pretty much what we got going on. I'm mocking everything up right now. I think I'm gonna cut right here. I think I'm gonna cut that one a little bit so it kind of sits on there like that, so it'll be better to weld, and then leave the other one going straight to the frame. So it's gonna look kind of hard to do one-handed, but something along the lines of that. Freaking motor mounts are perfect. All right, guys, this is pretty much the final mock-up before I start tacking it in. I cut this away right here so we could still weld on that side, because if you were to move this over a little bit, it would have been hard to weld on this side. So I moved it. It's pretty centered on the motor mount. It's a little far forward, but you know, it's a custom truck, so we should be able to weld pretty good on this side and this side. Get some good penetration on this side, this side. I mean, I'm very happy with the way it's coming out. What's up? I got one motor mount tacked in. Works out awesome. That is so good. Time to do the other side. I was using this chop saw, but the blade must be bent or something because it's cutting like shit. So cut it with the grinder. I think it looks neat. Got both of the motor mounts tacked in place. Looking good. We're gonna finish weld them when we take the motor back out. I'm a mechanic by trade. I'm not a welder. If I have to weld them, I'll weld them in, but preferably I prefer one of my buddies that got a little bit more experience to weld them in. I will show you a few things. You see how, like right there, it's like flush? And then, like right there, it's not. You know, the motor's bolted in place through the motor plate. It could be off slightly. You know, those are welded to the shock mounts, those two tabs too, so it's like the shock mounts could be slightly off or something of that nature. But the motor is strapped in place in the front, and it's bolted to the transmission, so the motor is where it's going to be. So that's why I welded them in where they're at. So we will probably do a piece of metal on the top and the bottom to gusset them a little bit more for some added stability, but it's pretty legit. You know, I'm happy with it. You know, so one less thing we got to worry about. On to the next problem. All right, so on to our next problem. This transmission cooler is the one that was originally in the truck when I bought it for the Turbo 400, and this is the factory transmission cooler. And as you can see, that and that are different. So we are going to mount this transmission cooler onto the new radiator core support. I just put the grill up there and measured it. I think it's gonna work, so we will see. All right, guys, a couple of small updates real quick. I know how we're gonna put the new transmission cooler in. I just gotta do it. We're not gonna use the Chevy grill. We're gonna use a GMC grill. The Chevy one's actually cracked and it would be harder to put that in. So we're gonna use the same front end that was on here. We're gonna use the transmission cooler that was in here when the big block was in here with the other body. So I'm done. I'm tired. I'm gonna go home. So I'm gonna pick back up with you guys on another day whenever we get a chance, and we're gonna keep ripping it. Thanks for watching.